Hello, Bobs. We're at the last chapter of Laura Mundo's Flying Saucers and the Father's Plan. This chapter is for advanced thinkers only, so I'm not sure if most of you can handle this, all 0.04 of you. For advanced thinkers only. To sum up, throughout the major part of this book, I have written around a two-part theme, which I will here restate for review. 1. We have all been demoted from more advanced planets, all continuing to refine or grow spiritually, or be further rejected. The visitors are coming here to help us in great numbers and frequency due to the impending planetary changes. 2. All our religious teachings have come down from the visitors. These religious teachings were originally scientific, philosophical, universal facts, which have been distorted and forgotten. Of course, I do not claim to have all the answers. After all, I am only a housewife and mother. You weren't a housewife at this point. You were divorced. You were a single mother who wasn't working, whom nobody considers an authority on anything except in her own little bailiwick. God found her worthy in his plan to share in the bringing forth of life and its nourishment. But man ignores her in his efforts of only taking life to manage the affairs of being. The following designs are for your deeper study. They demonstrate God, the eternal being, coming constantly into thinking, atomic being as all of being, from the greater and undefinable state of non-being, and its return. This knowledge was left with the ancients by the visitors, and unfortunately, it came to be symbology with hidden meanings, rather than the ABCs of man's learning as it was supposed to have been. These designs and the accompanying text demonstrate scientifically a great many things I have been trying to express in this book. The casual reader will wish to stop here, and if he does, I sincerely hope that he or she has obtained some meaningful knowledge. Meaningful knowledge. For others who wish to delve deeper, I present the following. Can't wait, buddy. Oh, well, let's get back to non-landscape. 1A. Void or God. The eternal being, all of being, in the unknown or indefinable state of non-being, or unformed or undivided or atomized or pure, unseeable to us, unable to view itself thusly or its actions as such, perhaps having condensed itself to that state from the state of being, leaving the space into which to expand or creating the space when expanding, we would not limit God. A definite or finite amount of atoms in use, in and as the known or visible, as our science now knows. But in order to have some place to hang our minds as we consider the remainder of the eternal being's initiation of activity upon these atoms, we have to start with its entrance into, and as the known from the unknown, or the possibilities. B. First part of EB, projected, the eternal being. Into and as the known, or that we know about, or can conceive, atomized or homogenized, making up space solidly, dark or still invisible to our eyes, but is thinking, illuminating energy or an unknowable substance we will label, as such vibrating above and below our frequencies of seeing. Presently, although as we rise in consciousness, darkness becomes lighter and light, as do we become better informed universally and or have greater abilities to vibrate with more powerful thinking, energy in and as the atoms of the atmosphere. This became later the center of the center. All right, this is just absolute word salad. Let's go back and read this last sentence again. It was one sentence. It was like a paragraph sentence. No, I'm not going back. It's futile. This became later the center of the atoms at our physical octave or frequency of being, indivisible for itself, and acting as one thinking unit or mind universally. The Hindu inner teachings call this the Laya center, or dissolving into nothing. From the outer human mind perspective, since it is also the way all came into being, or entrance as well. C. Second or further projection of EB through Laya center as negative and positive radiant thinking energies, which can be visible to us. Radiant because they excite each other, but harmoniously so, as people who rub each other the right way can create an inner glow within each other, used by the remainder of the EB and the unknown alternatingly, at times an imbalance to bring about in and as the state of being what the EB has in mind to be. Or is the creator it created through which to create? Or is the creator it created through which to create? Using further phases or parts of itself by which to create. Acts as one mind also, or in spirit, representing the remainder of the EB and the unknown. Or in other words, in it is its spirit, not living beings for themselves or spirits, but one spirit, or being or mind or body in the aggregate. Called the monad by the Hindus, yin and yang by the Chinese, the visitors bringing all races down from different planets, reminding them of their former universal knowledge when returning to visit and help from time to time, which our modern science has ignored, coming to know first of left-hand or counterclockwise spinning particles making up being, then later of right-hand or clockwise spinning particles also through American Chinese scientists. Wait, they're American? Unconsciously recalling former knowledge from former lifetimes, not yet realizing they are reverse single energy atoms. Differing sizes also, although not necessarily designating degree of power, all the power of the EB at the center of any form of the remainder of the EB in and as the unknown, gathered together by the remainder of the EB in and as the unknown through their centers. I read something. No, I didn't. That's literally through their centers into first radiant planets. People and things on them, then semi-radiant, then non-radiant, by further projecting itself as well into being as first single energy points of energy or atoms, then two energy atoms, then three, all of whom are on our frequency of seeing, or degrees of physical energy being, and flesh from non-radiant to radiant with degrees in each category as well. As all gradually re-expands back into non-being. The single energy can pass right through the others, although more powerful, without affecting them. No magnetic flux. When it is part of the Father's plan and the other two pass through it, the single or neutral energy or primary atom, as science now calls it. It is called father-mother by metaphysicians, although the sexually divided state came about only at the non-radiant state. The visitors called it the Father for the sake of the ancients, with their simple minds minimizing in man's mind, however, the feminine state of being, which the visitors now will have to help us to undo until we can all get together on what we mean by and understand as being God. A good common name used by everybody in all religions. The Father, the zero or seventh frequency of being, depending upon your perspective. D, positive or semi-radiant energies. Third projection of the remainder of the EB in and as the unknown into, and as the known to the center of the Father, or protons at semi-radiant stage, which our science calls ions, and erroneously called electrons instead. They are on and are the ultra blue spectrum of energy, what we call the supermind frequency. Although all is God, thinking energy at varying degrees of being. and runs down into and is the positive polarity of the conscious mind. Did I skip a page here? Somehow think I did. As its outer edges overlap with the negative polarity of the conscious mind. Explain later. Being the negative polarity of the positive mind for itself, or the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensions of mental being or frequencies, less powerful, obviously half, than the Father and slower in vibration and turn toward the Father in the main. The Father therefore able to radiate only somewhat out through it. In individual human beings at earth frequency or stage of being, the inner light real, creating warmth, loving feelings, attracting all protons, one mind polarity. In more advanced people on other planets and on this one also, although not so advanced in the main with a few exceptions, their positive and negative minds or protons and electrons are turned more toward each other and then toward the Father. He being therefore able to radiate out through them more fully and hold balance in and as their societies. What does that even mean? He being therefore able to radiate out through them more fully and hold balance in and as their societies. State of atoms of semi-radiant planets, people, things being two energies, the positive points of energy spinning clockwise for themselves on their axis and about the core, or remainder of EB from our perspective, creating an orbit, the core only radiating like our moon does in connection with our planet and our planet with the sun, so fast appearing to be one continuous streak of energy for themselves. Although it takes 12 points of energy to cover or hide or enclose a single point, or 12 balls to entirely hide a single ball in the center, starting to refine or speed up in vibration in orbit as soon as coming into being, called the etheric body, when making up an individual form by metaphysicians, which means only refined, not complete in itself. Only a degree of an atomic body, with other degrees or bodies as well. It is the degree our physical body was when we were on our sun, before demotion. Or heaven, kept from seeing at present in the main, although we could see the people on the sun. Were they to visit us, just as we can see even its higher energy outer atmosphere, as well as those on the rest of the non-radiant planets in our solar system, all advanced beyond us or higher in vibration. Oh my gosh. I don't know what's getting to me more, the post-coffee nasal drip or Laura's higher energy thinking here. Oh, this is ponderous, as Casey Kasem said. This is fucking ponderous. E, negative energies. I mean, we're going to read this to the end here, but I mean, it's really a stretch. I got three pages. Negative energies coming later for fourth projection of the EB from the unknown. Through center of the atom, non-radiant electrons, or infrared spectrum or subhuman mind, vibrating and orbiting the reverse of protons. Counterclockwise from our perspective, creating cold and aggressiveness, although each alternate at times, emanating into being as only as a further experience of the EB. Although some people are demoted to this planet involuntarily to rebalance themselves, condensed to one cell, i.e. expanding through birth, and some people volunteered to be reborn here to help. Some graduating from here after demotion, reborn on their more advanced planets, coming back by spaceship to help. Some people asking to be demoted to the non-radiant stage when realizing their atomic being was becoming imbalanced, as can happen, which Lucifer did not do. All right, we went to landscape for a while. I don't know how long, but the electron has a positive and negative polarity for itself too. The electrons or negative energies are slower in vibration than the protons. All the electrons of being also working as one mind for itself as it can, subject to the Father as well, to bring about in conjunction with the positive polarity of being what the remainder of the EB has in mind to be as the known or all of being. Nevertheless, it is more powerful than the protons in and as man's atomic being. What is this in and as? I don't understand this in and as. Protons in and as man's atomic being. There being 36 electrons to 12 protons, and as the EB in the unknown or its remainder attempts at once to reblend itself and eventually withdraws, the part in being, the Father sometimes has to make special efforts to convert an electron to a proton until they are even in number. The soul often reluctant to assert itself also. The conscious mind is a blend of the negative and positive energies, or sub and super minds, where their edges overlap as the EB begins to reblend itself, balancing the negative and positive atomic energies to themselves, then to the Father, and then withdraws them into the unknown universes from now. Other universes, however, constantly coming into being as well. Next time around, the EB, whatever it is or isn't, might be decided to be something different from universes with planets, people, and things in them. It is, therefore, a blend of the third and fourth dimensions, or matter and mind, having a negative and positive polarity within itself also. The personality decided by the blend, changing as it balances. Balance may change through growth or lack of growth, crystallizing or slowing in vibration. This is called by metaphysicians the ego, from the Latin word I. It also has a third polarity when the Father can be active in and through it, or as a polarity to the Father when balanced itself. The radiant people on radiant planets or suns are on the same frequency of being as our Father selves or highest mind. The more advanced semi-radiant or non-radiant people on the same frequency as our protonic and electronic selves, balanced and upping itself, varying degrees. People on less evolved planets than ours have less evolved conscious minds, but better balanced. Such spirit beings, radiant energy. Oh God, I can't turn the page again. Oh, there's still 3 pages. My God, how am I going to make it through this? People beyond us somewhere, considered by metaphysicians and of those of orthodox understanding who have had visions, always of someone important to their own religion or understanding, or interpreted as such, usually their own higher self, erroneously to be on inner planes instead, rather than only of and on the frequency of being of what is our own inner atomic energies, confusing the continuity of being, all of our own selves as our atoms also. These people on suns are not too concerned with us in the main. Yeah, because they're burned to an ember. These people on suns are not too concerned with us in the main, as all evolve, moving directly from sun to greater sun by spaceship when the experience the Father has in mind, as they, is finished. There it is. Damn circle. G, the ancient symbol for the completed or balanced self for this planet, or negative and positive self balanced and falling in harmonious vibrations with our neutral self, forgotten as to its meaning and time, and that it only represents the single energy atom, ignored by metaphysical scientists all this time. Instead, now, bending over backward for fear of being called atheists, religion accusing them thus in the past, unaware itself that the energies with which science was concerned was God. This is a stage as well, such a symbol denoted, from which Earthman was demoted, and to which he is returning, as his first and second outer atomic orbits balance each other, fall into line with the third, becoming one, or the Father, balancing in turn with the remainder of the EB and the unknown, or dot. So the dot's the unknown. The ancient symbol for the completed or balanced self for this planet. All right, what's this? H, the 3-1 wave sign of energy, a continuous spiraling motion created as atoms vibrate in harmony. Upon initiation of the remainder of the EB and the unknown, and the individual often at odds, our science's instruments unable to pick up father and remainder of EB, repelling the lesser divided energies from itself and attracting them back, creating the wave sign, the same energy but reverse in direction and therefore nature, and vice versa. I, side view of wave sign, see top of opposite page. That's the wave sign. That's Frank's Red Hot. Creating universal mind or father, remainder of EB, dot in center. 1, unknowable type unit also, all the neutrons of being or neutral polarity of being, the positive polarity of mind of being, called the universal soul by science, ancients, The Christ consciousness by modern metaphysical Christians, all the protons of all the atoms of being. The negative polarity of being or mind, called the devil by the ancients, and is what metaphysics calls the astral planes, around which the Father must work negative energies attracted to active positive energies, following the first law of the universe, action plus reaction. Our planet's atmospheric layers of atoms of 1, 2, 3 energy showing neutral lap over, creating weightlessness. Oh, this is J. Increasing as atmosphere rises. Our astronauts hitting only first frequency. Energies becoming so power can pass right through metal of capsule, forcing out astronauts. What? Our astronauts hitting only first frequency, energies becoming so powerful, can pass right through metal of capsule, forcing out astronauts' mind. Human aura, same. When balanced negatively, energies extending farthest when not. The saucers draw energy directly out of the atmosphere. This is the Van Allen belt. Oh, the heater came on. Give him the heater, Ricky. By magnetic lens, let's go back and see what the saucers draw energy directly out of the atmosphere by magnetic lens, using the positive energy to repel themselves from the ground. Just as the positive polarity of the conscious mind says, pick up your feet and walk, reversing our polarities momentarily and with individual feet, or we could not walk, or as well would float up into space unless one foot was held down, or the release. Only temporary. There being 2 kinds of gravity, repelling and attracting, as in all things, and a third unknown factor, the deciding factor, as powerful as both. Gravity of matter and gravity of mind, a force field built about the visitor's ships at the mental frequency, or thought energy at the frequency of the minds of the people traveling in them, but in reverse, to keep out the atmospheric energies. If they, with even advanced minds or more powerful mental energy, cannot travel through our outer atmospheric rings without protection, how can we live in it? Now that the high-altitude bombs have increased it, sifting slowly down into our lower atmosphere by the pull of gravity, upping the vibratory rate of the atmospheric atoms in which our own atomic being mind is suspended. Obviously, the Father will have to do something soon, or have only crazy, mixed-up, demagnetized mental electrons than he and we have presently, which is not his purpose. I don't know what to make of this. Does it mean anything? Does it? I don't think so. All right. Goodbye.